Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Coffees with James show. I'm James, and this show you're watching on, hopefully the other channels I mentioned on the internet, by the way, is my morning coffee show. And yes, the black sunglasses are back, and yes, it's the John Lennon. For those who are younger than, say, who are Gen Zs, yes, the Harry Potter glasses. For all the millennials, it's Harry Potter! Fuck Harry Potter. Alright, fuck them. Wizards are overrated. Give me a 12 gauge and a buckshot. I'll handle Voldemort myself. Alright, never mind. People are like, he's gonna shoot Voldemort with a gun. Guns are bad, so are magic powers. Yeah, to all you wizard types, to all you magic types out there, I prefer 12 gauge, thank you very much, to a stick. And most of you wizards don't even shoot lightning out of your fingertips. You have to use a stick. Alright, I'm not talking about that. Today we're going to be talking about something special to me, and something I've been watching a lot of Steven Crowder's show on the internet, and I want to talk about something I've been just trying to figure out recently, you know what I mean, about courage and stuff like that, and this show in general, and just my projects in general, where my life's going. And the one biggest thing I have is, and this is something he's talked about, and that is fear. Now, I was watching this episode, and he was talking about, we're all afraid of something, you know what I mean, we're all afraid of, like, anything scary. I mean, I'm not talking about just phobias in general, like, I'm afraid of spiders, they're terrifying. Like, even though if I do know more about them, I'm still terrified because they look terrifying. I mean, you know, you can explain to me all you want about, this, well, they're harmless and they're more afraid of you. They're not afraid of anything. Stop it. Stop it. Enough of that rhetoric. Thank you very much. But anyhow, so fear. And I'm not talking about that fear. I'm talking about, like, legit, like, concerns about the future and that stuff like that. Like, I'm not talking about the election and stuff like that. Everybody's freaked out about this, about who's going to win and all this stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is not going to be talking about that. People are freaked out and people are scared. And something I've been kind of noticing with that is that people's phobias are starting to come forward. You know, fear of death, fear of, like, losing their job, fear of, not trying as hard, fear of burning out, fear of not succeeding, fear of not trying, being better, trying to keep bettering yourself, fear of everything, fear of letting people down, fear of not letting yourself down, which I think is more important than letting anybody else down. What am I going to say, though? But yeah, that's the most important thing right there, is it's like, we all have these fears. Now, and in this day and age, people are scared of like the COVID, the C virus out there. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's absolutely insane. And even people who control the narrative, like people who, run Instagram, Facebook, you name it, all the social media platforms, they're afraid too. And honestly, they're so afraid that they're gonna censor people for speaking out. Like, I kept mentioning, the best thing to defense against this with any kind of cold or any kind of virus or any kind of, like, disease is, herd immunity, but most importantly, vitamin Z, zinc, vitamin D, magnesium if you want, turmeric, anything that helps with the cellular health, cellular as in, cells in your body. And I can't pronounce that for the save of my life, but you know what I'm talking about. A lot of people are just afraid, and they don't want to listen, they don't want to learn, so they just, like, assume what a doctor says is, like, the all-ending truth. It's like, oh, well, if Dr. Fauci says to inject rat poison into our systems, I think we should. No, I think you should, like, I think those are fucking... Listen, I'm not trying to be an anti-vaxxer, I'm not trying to be a medicine or anti-science, which, by the way, people, stop with the you're anti-science when somebody questions the narrative of everything. Why are you questioning the vaccines? Vaccines work. Yes, but have you ever noticed that you get vaccines all the time and some of them don't work? Have you ever questioned what's in your vaccine, like the way you should be questioning what's in your food or in your daily thing? You don't. And it always stems from fear and always asking somebody else for that knowledge. And I'm going to tell you the truth, and this is somebody who's, to quote the movie from Matinee, which I want to talk about in another video, adults are making this up as we go along. Like adults, professionals, people who you think are experts in all this stuff and have the white coats and the degrees and all that stuff, and these people are just making it up as they go along. Some people do have knowledge, and yes, I'm gonna, like, for example, Jordan Peterson, he's not doing anything special, but being another relay to the message, but giving it purpose, clean your room, that popular meme, which I think is really good, and he gave it meaning again, which is like, okay, fine, we're giving it meaning again. Sort yourself out, bucko. Like, that's another great one. People kind of forget that. Like, sometimes you need somebody to say, hey, straighten your shit out. Like, that's it. That's big time it. And, and it goes back to the stemming of fear again, because, we're afraid of not getting our shit in order. We're like, with organization comes less of fear because we know what things to do and what to get. Things can get ahead of yourselves, and people kind of forget, like, you have a life outside of, like, their own existence. And, we're all gonna die eventually. I mean, I will talk about more of a Matinee, a Joe Dante movie in just a moment about that, but honestly, I haven't done this in a while, so yeah, if I'm jumping all over the place, but, we're all afraid of something, and it's like that fear of, like my biggest fear right now is, like, I want to keep making videos. I want to keep not making promises about videos or doing them. I just want to do them, all right? I do have the outside fears of, like, the gym's closing or this closing or that closing or having to be forced into a fucking vegetarian diet for no good goddamn reason other than people are afraid of cholesterol, which, by the way, another thing people are afraid of, another scare tactic. There's two types of goddamn cholesterol. Excuse my language. LDL and HDL. HDL's the good one, and LDL's the bad one. And by the way, cholesterol is something your brain function needs. People kind of forget that. Like, and we've been listening to fucking professionals and doctors that we decided, no, we're not going to question the science. I mean, if a man in a white coat says it's okay, it's okay. I mean, it's the same, like, it's funny, we've actually traded in one religious dogma for another. And I know people out there, well, science is based on facts and logic, and it's like, yes, and also lies, and also, and I'm not saying, like, oh, the birds are not real, the earth's flat nonsense. No. I'm talking about, okay, what, why aren't we doing any real science on this? Like, what is the correlation between, eggs, the people who get heart attacks and the people who don't get heart attacks, or the people who eat like shit and smoke and do all this stuff, but they live a long time, versus the people who don't do that, but they die instantly. Like, what is the correlation between that? And people don't want to do the science. They don't want to do the research or spend the time. No, they just want to be entertained. And there's nothing wrong with being entertained, too. You sometimes just got to say, okay, why am I afraid of this? Why? And back to fear again. What is this? And it goes back to knowledge, Like, for example, with the show again, I keep talking about this. Should I keep making more content? Like, I keep falling into this habit, and I want to break it. I really do want to break it. And, people telling me I'm getting older, blah, 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 blah. You shouldn't. I'm just going to do. Because I live at home with my parents. I'm a loser. I'll admit it, I'm a loser. And I'm tired of being one. And I'm going to try to get out. And I'm tired of hearing you can't all the time. This is how I'm stuck in this position. My balls get broken because people want to focus on one. That's another topic for another day. But, people want to focus on one particular bad thing you did. They want to point out your flaws rather than your accomplishments. It's hard sometimes, and I mean, I like critic, and I'm not talking about creative criticism and stuff like that. I'm talking about legit, people who just can't let go. Well, like, for example, I crashed, like, the car, like, I inherit a broken car. Well, you've crashed that car so many times, it's like, you know, you broke it, and this is your fault. This is your fault. I'm going to mention it every time we drive it, and, you know, we're going to keep blaming, like, you know, this is why nobody recovers from drug addiction, because they feel guilty. You keep putting this guilt upon them, and you won't let it go. Yes, I destroyed that car, and you know what? I'm going to stick a fucking towel into the gas tank and light it on fire. Blow it the fuck up. That's what I'm gonna do. Alright? I'm going to buy myself a new fucking vehicle. Stop trying to put, you know, perfume on a goddamn pig. And it's that, you know, and you get that guilt and you fear of, like, breaking another thing, but it's like, hey, you know what? It ran its course. Let's move on. Nobody wants to. They want to keep busting your balls, and I think that's another issue too. People want to keep bringing you down to a certain level where it's like, I'm just going to bust your balls on that one because it's just, you know, I don't want you being better than anybody else or thinking, you know, it's, and again, you need humility. It's not about humility. It's about just this, you know what I'm talking about? Like, people keep putting you down, and it's like, you got to stop listening to those people. And that's going back to, like, you know, another video I did where you got to say, screw them. Like, if somebody's just going to keep bringing you down, let them go. Like, okay, I'm not going to hang out with you if you're just going to be talking like that. You know, oh, you got, you know, thin skin. It's like fucking bullshit. I've known people who assumingly thought thick skin, and then they cry when you say, well, you don't love me anymore. It's like, why is my love more important? You know, it's like, you know, it's like a parent who wants to tell, you know, wants to say they want to commit that jokingly mass homicide on that homicide on you. Hey, I brought you in this world, I can take you out. Ha ha ha. You say you don't love them and they cry. Why don't you love me? It's like, because you threaten me. It's like, it just makes me laugh. No sense. You know what I mean? And again, it goes back to that fear, because you're trying to please everybody and you don't want to let people down. And again, it's always stems from fear, being a people pleaser, being this, being that, being this. And it's like, sometimes you just got to say, no, I'm going to face my fears. I'm going to face my fears and just deal with it. Live in your own world. You know, I don't mean to, like, don't screw anybody over, but just don't let people control your life with fear. Like, I didn't know you were turning, fuckface. Fucking public service worker, you can go fucking eat a dick. And this is what people get upset at me if I do this shit, but you know, I don't have time anymore. We gotta hustle, we gotta move, and it's like, we work as hard as we can, but you know, we gotta work hard. So give me a break here, alright? I am working hard. You know, do me a favor and don't tell me to stop, because I cannot stop. I'm gonna give, like, you know, if you're not gonna be encouraging, just fucking please don't. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that too. Don't be somebody who brings people. Don't be a dream destroyer. Be a dream pusher. And I'm going to be honest with you. Again, you know, make great things. You know, and don't listen to the haters, or the people who are just like, well, I think you should. If someone says, well, I think, don't listen to them. Don't, unless they have some kind of, like, really good constructive thing they want to put to it and actually may help with it. Listen to them. Just listen to them. Like, you know what I mean? Just, like, take it in and just, like, write it down somewhere, and then be like, what was that thing? Okay, I can do this. You know, and that's the thing I'm just trying to say. I know I keep going on random, like, off topic here, and I'm not making any clear sense, but you know what? I don't care. And that's another big fear. I go all random. I do. I rant. I ramble. I don't care about... If you can glean over what I'm saying, I'm okay with that. You know, it's like anybody... It's like when I did stand-up. I was trying to write jokes down. Didn't work. Fine. I do miss doing stand-up. But this is kind of like my stand-up right here, where I can rant. Some of it's funny. Some of it's not funny. Some of it's, you know, pisses people off. Some of it, you know, encourages people. You know, I said some jokes about trans people, you know, talking about The Last of Us 2, which, by the way, still a bad game. I'm sorry, but you can talk about how well made it is. When you insult your audience, when you shit on your audience, it goes down from being a 10 out of 10 to a 1 out of 10. That's all I gotta say about that. So, Well, fuck, I gotta take a look at this video again, because there was something I wanted to talk. Oh, matinee. And that extends to the other thing. So, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, love you, bye-bye, and remember to stay awesome and be happy. Because life is short, okay? And don't be afraid.